It's episode 118 of Double Cross Anime, and this gonna be the last postcard for the year 2020. For this week, we're gonna go through all the four 2020 shows that we have finished together, and that including the four shows: Akudama Drive, Taiso Samurai, the only one that finished at this point, Kamisama ni Natta Hi, and Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, we're doing it a week early before all those shows will. Well, some of them will finish in one more week, but next week's Christmas, so we're not spending our Christmas recording a podcast.
Yep. Regrettably, we also wanted to do the Maocho de Oyasumi, but I still like some episode away from that.
Okay.
So.
No worries.
We're gonna do a volume 5 of Sunny as well.
Yeah.
The manga.
Coming to a close pretty soon.
Yeah. Alright, so which one should we start first, Whooper?
I don't know, man. I don't think any of them are particularly good.
Alright, let's go with the one that have already finished.
So Taiso Samurai.
Just today, this morning, Taiso Samurai.
Right. So previously, when we were doing like our mid-season episode, we were supposed to go over episodes 2 through 6 of Taiso Samurai, but I didn't finish episode 6 on time. So now we can do episodes 6 through 11, which is the end. And yeah, it did. Last episode went live a few hours ago online. And I thought it was, it kind of went out with a whimper, Not really interested in anything that it had to say by the end. Big Bird ended up being the best character in the entire show. Everyone else was.
Oh, I hate that bird.
Well, he's still the best, so that just speaks to how bad everyone else was and how uninteresting.
All right.
Yeah, I felt pretty much nothing upon the series conclusion. Like Aragaki landing the quadruple flip, I was just like, "Who cares?"
Wow, amazing! All right.
I mean, were you really into it?
No, I'm not really that into it, but I think they finished on a good note. Like it is like the only way that they could wrap up nicely, and I think they did. Well, nicely is not the right word. Like I really like the Taiso Samurai for the first 2-3 episodes. So like I think I told you that on the mid season, but it become like a regular sport shows, and I don't see much of. All right, you don't agree with that?
No, not at all.
All right.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean like, for the last 2 episodes, 10 and 11, I guess it was a regular sports show. But I mean, there was the training camp too. But the bulk of the training camp, like the lead up to it, for example, there was an entire episode dedicated to, the catch-22, the dilemma of the training camp happening during Rei's birthday, or Rei's birthday falling within the range of the training camp dates. There was a whole episode about that.
Yep.
Like this show was just as much about like fatherhood and childhood, and we got the snacks. We're busting out the snacks again. Loud as hell.
Keep going.
It wasn't a straight up sports show. I mean, a big part of this final episode even was dedicated to the question of whether Leo would come back to watch Jotaro's performance. So it was about like whether I don't know whether he would find it within himself to go support his friend. I feel like Leo, whether or not he had come back to see Jotaro's performance, wouldn't have affected anything. It's just one more person in the crowd. You know what I mean?
I agree with that completely. Like I see that Leo involvement in all this is not really strong. Like if you put him out of the equation, it doesn't really change the story that much. And they suppose for that Leo's ties with the Aragaki, um, be the be the main emotional point of the story, but it just fall flat for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't be blamed for not really being into it because it didn't. There was just so little to the relationship between Leo and Jotaro. At the
Yeah,
beginning of the
that's true
story,
as well.
like there was a question about who Leo was exactly, what was his real identity. Um, I thought he was a gymnast. I thought he was some kind of famous gymnast from another country,
Mm-hmm.
and he was inspired by
Mm-hmm.
Jotaro, so that's why he was hiding out in Japan. And it ended up
Well,
being that his you know area of interest, his
it's
sport,
valid.
yeah, it was completely divorced from what Jotaro was doing. It wasn't really related to it, and
But he's still inspired by Chotaro nonetheless, right?
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
why he come to Japan.
yeah, but
I
I don't know. It's
Yep.
pretty flimsy. Like
Well,
the whole show just went out with it
I
like a big fart.
agree with that.
The-
And I also see that the conflict between Minamino and Aragi is not that strong either. Like they
yeah,
don't even have like a lot of screen time together to begin with.
yeah. Well, Minamino's character was just like the rival character, the angsty, shouty, or just angsty. I don't know, just the angst-ridden rival
Yeah.
character. There wasn't really anything else to him.
Yeah, I think the shows is more focused not on their rivals or on Leo's involvement, affection to Chotaro, but more about like Chotaro, like come back to still enjoy his game and be on top of it, even like it's a time for him to be retired. I think that is like the only one aspect that the show does good for me.
Huh?
Do you feel that at
Did you
all?
just say something about his retirement?
Yeah, yeah, I did say that. I think he's like an interesting protagonist to begin with. So he's not like our up and coming talented um, athlete, but he's like the one who like on the other side of his performance, and he's just about to retire. But this is like he see the new light to be on top of himself again. And I think with that direction, like the show is decent about that.
Yeah, but
But
that was so far from the focus, especially in the first half, where it seemed like his daughter and Leo were more
yeah,
important characters than he was. So
I
then
agree on that.
at the end, all of a sudden, he's getting 9.975 on his impossible quadruple ultra 100% omega A plus flip, and all of a sudden, this is like a big deal.
Yeah,
And I'm not about it. I'm not here for it. I'm just
yeah,
writing about it weekly, so I have to keep watching it.
and all these supporting character are not really that chill together.
Yeah,
Like
dude, what is the deal with the green-haired
yeah,
guy and the gal that works at the bar?
well yes, and I also like the Chinese athlete who want to be an idol, Kitty Chat.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Like
I thought it was
I
fun at least that Ray got to have a little friend for a bit. That was all right. But then she disappeared, and it was the same with the other Chinese guys from the training camp.
yeah.
They were just there for like 2 episodes as a motivator.
Yep, yep,
I don't
yep.
know. Just feels the whole show felt kind of half baked and not really
Yeah.
brought to life either by its animation or, through the writing.
It's this storytelling. Yep. And I think Leo, like his talent of ballet would be a really interesting point, but the show does nothing to really strengthen that for me as well.
Yeah, I mean,
So
we don't get to
just
see
don't.
his performance at the end. They go to London to see the ballet, and we see him getting ready to come out on
Yeah.
stage. Then we see him for 2 seconds, and then we cut to a truncated version of the ED. We don't even get the full ED. It just
Yep.
cuts, and it says Taiso Samurai, and then whatever.
Yeah, and then there's this weird bird. It's not Albert, but the other one, who keep appearing on the TV, and he just left after like that episode. It's just so weird. Every characters in this show is weird.
Yeah, except Big Bird. He was, I would say, pretty normal.
Uh huh.
And he was pretty much he was the star of the last episode. He landed on Leo's shoulder or something, knocked him down, so that Rachel could catch up to him and bring him
Yeah.
back to the stadium where her dad was performing. Which I mean, obviously he wouldn't have landed the quadruple flip except that Leo was there, lending him his energy in the audience. That was really important. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was also important that he see Jotaro perform so he could be inspired, for his eventual return to the world of ballet. And it was important that he be inspired so that he would do his best when we saw him dancing for 2 seconds in the very last shot of the series. So just beautiful. Altogether, tied up really well. Wasted hours of my life watching this.
You seem really spiteful about this show. Oh,
Yeah.
Indifferent.
Well, obviously not indifferent
That's
because I'm ranting about it, but yeah, spiteful.
Yeah. Yeah, well, as I mean by indifferent, because we learned from another show that indifferent is the opposite of love.
Oh my god, what was that? Was that Jujutsu Kaisen?
Not Jujutsu Kaisen. I just watched the whole second half, so I can remember that.
Yeah.
Someone
Do you want to
said that.
start? Do you want to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yeah, let's go with that. That's
Dude.
that's the whole point that I.
Yeah, I went from being like, all right, this is pretty interesting. It's a shonen, but it's keeping things interesting. It's all right. To feeling like
Yep.
it got extremely pretentious and dumb and scattered in these these last few episodes. What is it, 8 to 12 that we're talking about here?
7 to 12.
Is it? Okay.
Yep.
Wait, really? I don't think I took down any notes for
I think so.
episode 7. But
Yeah.
dude, I wasn't. I mean, how did are you still liking Jujutsu Kaisen? Because I thought I thought this whole batch of episodes,
Alright.
especially like 10 to 12, were pretty bad.
All right. I'm not hating the show. I'm kind of glad that the show hasn't go into the tournament act.
I would have
I
preferred that to what
was-
we got.
I was actually expecting worse, I think. But the show taking time to introduce us like a whole set of new characters, and with the relationship between our main characters and this guy who I didn't really put out that other name yet. But I feel like the relationship between him and that new guy isn't really that developed. It just happened in order for us to show about their relationship, and the other guy drama, it had to be spend more time on that. And I kind of feel like the pacing is all over the place. How do you feel?
Well, I mean, it depends, I guess, on which part of episodes 7 through 12 that we're talking about. Episode 7 is the one where Kakashi, the Kakashi lookalike, Gojo Sensei, does his like infinite time stop thing.
All right. So we already discussed about that then.
Yeah.
I remember watching it ages ago.
And but I mean, even though we did see that ages ago, and I think we already talked about it a little bit. But even though that's not really what we're talking about today, that was the first inkling that I had that this show was getting like kind of too big for its britches, like trying to pretend that it was a lot more, you know,
Deep.
yeah, that it was a lot more, a lot smarter than it really was, I guess.
Yep.
You know, because he's talking while he's bringing this volcano-headed dude into his cursed domain or whatever it's called, his innate domain, that you know, he brings time to a focal point at the limit of blah blah blah, and he's talking about math and calculus. So I was like, well, this is pretty stupid, but whatever. Episode 8 is the one where the some of the other Jujutsu kids from the other school come by, which seemed kind of like a waste of time to me. That whole episode seemed like a waste because they show up for one episode, then they leave after beating up some of the supporting characters. That wasn't that interesting to me. So episodes 9 through 12, that's the real meat of all this. This is where Mahito, who's the silver-haired guy with the stitches all over his face, who's a curse, he's like grooming Junpei, the sad boy with the bangs covering his one eye.
Yep.
He's grooming him to be some sort of evil dude. And the problem that I have with this is like the bullying that he goes through.
Yep.
We see a bunch of it in episode 9 and a bunch of it in episode 10, and it almost felt like exactly the same thing. Watching episode 10 after watching episode 9, I was hit with like a really powerful wave of deja vu. Like, didn't I just watch this and exactly this in the previous episode? You know, it's him getting bullied, and then of course he's upset about that, and then he talks to Mahito, who's like, "Oh, all of humanity is, you know, bad, and the people don't really have hearts."
Yeah. Well,
I just didn't find that very interesting.
Like, I kind of feel the same as well. And when sorry, when I mentioned about the pacing being all over the place, because I couldn't make a very clear sense of Junpei's mother as he dies. I mean, like, I know that she died because of the curse, but in terms of like time frame, I don't really know like how long it had passed since the time that Yuji having dinner with her and her son.
It was that night.
Before she it was right after that night.
Yeah, because she wakes up with the blanket still around her shoulders. She falls, you know, because she's getting drunk while they're having dinner together, so she falls asleep at the table, and then Junpei puts the blanket around her shoulders. Then she wakes up in the middle of the night, and the cursed finger is there in front of her.
Before, all right.
She dies.
How long before that Yuji know about that?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the show does cut around a lot.
Yeah.
Like the next time that we see Yuji is when his superiors are informing him that Junpei's mom has died, and that they're going to Junpei's school or something to stop him.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's like one of these issue with writing, because like some of the information we as a watcher already know before some of the characters jumping in. So when the characters learn about the stuff that we already know, it feel more like the pacing is slowed down by that time, you know. Like they could do something better to not repeat the information that we already know.
I mean, I know what you're talking about. I don't really know what the best way to phrase it would be, other than the show's juggling a lot of characters, right? It's not doing the usual shonen thing where we're like locked into the main character's point of view. And honestly, I like you mentioned earlier that you we're glad that we didn't go into tournament arc mode. And I said I wished that we had. And that's because that would have at least given us a point of view to follow. We could have followed Yuji during a tournament. And then even if we did do a little bit of jumping around between characters, at least they would all be in one location wherever the tournament was happening. But the way that Jujutsu Kaisen goes about constructing this arc is we've got Junpei's point of view, we've got we've got Yuji's point of view, then we have Junpei, the emo guy, his point of view. There are plenty of scenes where it's just Mahito, not even talking with Junpei. He's by himself, or he's talking with one of the other members of the League of Villains. So we already have a League of Villains that we have to worry about. That's already a thing as of episode, I mean, it was before even these episodes. We caught a glimpse of Mahito before any of these episodes. And then there's also the teachers at Jujutsu Tech, like the guy with the glasses and the blonde hair, Nanami. Sometimes we are following his point of view, where Yuji is not even present. So there's just a lot of jumping back and forth between, different people, and that's why I think the show feels disjointed in the way that it does, because, it'll cut from the news or the cursed finger in front of his mom, in front of Junpei's mom, to in the next episode, Yuji, having been informed of this already, is like on the way to the school. But we don't know yet how Junpei is reacting to all of this. We know Yuji's on the way to where Junpei is, but we haven't seen Junpei yet. And then later, when Junpei and Yuji are fighting, I think there's a flashback to Mahito and Junpei talking together in his bedroom, where the kid is really upset, and Mahito is basically explaining what had happened. So there's flashbacks, there's flash forwards. We're everywhere.
They're jumping between timelines as well. So it kind of disjoints. It's not that confusing, but it's kind of disjoint for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I think like if the level of your enjoyment will be if you really buy in the Junpei and our main characters' relationship and stuff.
Right, but the thing is, it's hard to buy it, because he keeps saying stuff like the heart is just the metabolism of the soul, and the shape of one's soul isn't something that reverse curse techniques could deal with. And stuff like that.
I don't even understand what that means.
Yeah, it really is pretentious, honestly. Like, there's too much metaphysical talk and like philosophical talk about the like human nature. It's enough to just show Yuji getting like really beaten down and bullied in one episode. Maybe show that he's got just one parent at home and things are kind of difficult for him, but his mom's doing the best she can. And then let's say after you establish that for one episode, in the next one she gets killed, and that sends him over the edge. That would be fine. But instead we double and triple down on the bullying, and there is so much dialogue between Junpei and Mahito before Junpei really goes bad, that it feels like a sledgehammer to the skull. Like, ironically, his transition into a villain, and him being sent over the edge would have been more convincing with less build-up, because we just get too much.
Yeah. And based on the 3-4 episodes that we watch, I don't get the sense that Junpei like powers. We don't get the sense of Junpei building up his ability. It's more about like his psychology instead of so I didn't really buy when like he had that much power to fight against
Yuji.
Yuji as the end of episode 12.
Yeah, you're talking about the fact that he has the ability. He has this jellyfish. Curse spirit or something that he can control, and it blocks attacks for him, and he uses it to poison people and stuff. And the revelation that he has like poison type cursed power is
We
delivered
we
through
don't
yet
know about
another
it yet.
flashback with Mahito, where Mahito's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you actually have poison cursed power. That's you're powerful." And Junpei's like, "I am."
Yep. And the way the show frame how Yuji want to like convert him back to like the good life, like having him joining the school, and when he got killed, we have like the frame, the still frame of what could have happened,
Yeah,
when he joining the school with other student, and I think that was the most pretentious uh, image that this show have for me.
that was more pretentious than the heart being the metabolism of the soul.
That is way more like I'm bothered way more from that.
I mean, I that didn't bother me at all. I just saw it as like the show treating it as a foregone conclusion that he would eventually be a protagonist, and we know he will be because we see them together in the OP, in the theme song.
Really? All right.
Yeah, there's an image of like all the Jujutsu Tech students like hanging out in a really picturesque looking outdoor setting, and there's like a tree that they're all sitting under. They're all laughing and eating like a picnic, and then it's Yuji and Junpei sitting right next to each other laughing about something.
Wow. All right. I didn't pick that up. So
Yeah.
he gonna pop back to life.
Oh yeah, he's definitely coming back to life, and he's gonna be a good guy.
Huh.
Oh, and also all the time wasted with Yuji, talking to Sukuna or Sakuna, whatever his spirit inside of him is called. He's
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
"Help me, please," and the guy's just like, "No." Why?
Yep.
If his answer was that blunt, if his refusal to help his host is that blunt, why does it need to be stretched out for like 5 minutes? Which it was in episode 12. It was like,
I think the point is that he dishonor the park that they have because he know that Juji's already forgot about that.
I know what you're talking about, and he even says that like he's forgotten all about the pact. But
Yay.
I think the reason they brought that up is because the pact is supposed to be triggered by a specific word, right? Like ages ago, we
Right.
learned that Yuji has to say a particular word in order to release
Yep.
Sukuna,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I don't know if he's said that word yet. So that's
He
why
haven't.
that's I think why he says he's forgotten about the pact. Like he doesn't know how to get Sukuna to listen to him because he's forgotten.
Yep.
But nevertheless, like there's still, so that happens, and then we get Sukuna's monologue or inner voice for a little bit talking about that, and then there's like Yuji going into despair, and there's images of him like grabbing his head like, oh my god, how can this be happening? And then the screen, there's just like a red filter that gets washed over everything, like, oh, such inner turmoil. And then I don't know, man, I'm just getting tired of this. Like 4 episodes now that we've been spending on Junpei, and let's just, why couldn't Junpei have been a participant in the tournament arc that we should be having right now?
All right. How you feel about the production then? Because for me, like on these fight, are still pretty great.
I'm actually not that impressed, honestly. I do think that the action in episode 8, which was the one where the muscle guy, the students from the other jujutsu school, muscle guy, and there was another girl, like some kind of cat girl or gun girl or something.
Yeah. She actually the twin of the other girl in the senpai girl.
Okay.
So they are twin.
Okay.
Yeah,
That only
they
rings like the vaguest of bells.
Yeah, they mentioned that the whole times
Okay.
because apparently that senpai girl, she doesn't have any of the power.
Right.
So
She has no
she
cursed power or something.
yeah, yeah, that's right. But
She
she's
just
still determined
uses.
to be a soccer. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought the action in that episode was pretty great. Like when the muscle guy was beating people up and like punching them and making them fly all over the school and stuff. I thought that was pretty impressive. But a lot of the action in these last few episodes has not really been. I mean, I think the show has relied a lot on.
CG.
No, not. I mean, the environments are definitely CG. That's true. But
Mm.
there's been a lot of reliance on like close-ups of characters after they get hit, and then the show will use some sort of graphical
Uh,
technique, like turning their face blue
yep.
or something, or like freeze framing for a little bit while a character's getting hit, and then they do the classic anime thing where they like some blood comes out of their mouth or some spit comes out of their mouth,
Hmm.
and then so they dedicate a whole bunch of time, like airtime, seconds worth, to just that little bit, and then the actual action of the characters approaching one another and retreating from one another is not really emphasized. And especially in this,
Hmm.
I paid a lot of attention to like the choreography of the fight in episode 12, and there was just so much standing
Hmm.
around in that hallway, where Junpei is saying that humans don't have hearts, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
There's just so much time spent there, standing, talking, thinking, not a lot of time acting or doing.
Yep.
So pretty
Yep.
disappointed, I guess.
All right. I'm not that disappointed, but I was more wow about this show, like in the first half than the second half for sure.
Yeah, I like the first half a lot better too, and I don't know how I'll get to the end of this arc, which I assume is like just one or two more episodes, and then
I think
if
that's gonna
we
be just another episodes.
just one more. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
just one more before
one more
we.
episode might
Yeah.
be the only one. I might only give it one more episode if that's the case. But if it go like I kind of like the other characters, like I like the
Yep.
girl who comes from the small town, and the dude
Uh-huh.
with the really spiky hair, Fushiguro or whatever his name is,
Yep.
and the
E-
Kakashi guy, Goto Sensei. He's pretty cool, even if
Yep.
he is like a smug bastard.
Even with the Inumaki, the guys who can only say the ingredient of the sushi.
Right.
We see he activate his ability, and he actually can say other words.
Yeah, but
And
only
yes,
only when he goes into like fighting mode.
yeah, that's right. So I think your theory about him was spot on.
What was my theory about him?
All right, you said that maybe that's the way that he only can only say the ingredient of the sushi is the condition
Oh yeah,
for him to keep his ability.
right. Yeah, like a Hunter
Yep.
Hunter type of thing, where you
Yep.
kind of form a contract with yourself or like your own nen or your own ability, to keep it
Yep.
limited, except in particular situations. Like Kurapika could only use his chain jail on the spiders
Yep,
in Hunter
that's
Hunter.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I got the idea. So I figured that, obviously another shonen mangaka would be way more conscious of that than I would be, so they would definitely rip it off.
Yep, and even Nanami, like his effect, I like that as well. Like he mentioned something about like he working from 9 to 5, and if he working after hours, he gonna release his full energy or something.
Yeah, that was really
I
weird.
think
I don't think the time passing 5 o'clock actually increased his powers.
been a lot.
I don't
Right.
think that actually happened. I think he just decided, oh, I'm off the clock, so now since I'm getting paid
So,
overtime, I might as well go all out, I guess.
all right. That makes more sense, I think.
Yeah. But even his ability, like the 7 to 3 thing, that
Yep.
just kind
I
of
have no
feeds
idea what that
into-
is.
Yeah. All the stuff with Goto Sensei, his infinity ability, and the 7 to 3 thing that
Right.
Nanami has. All that type of stuff is just like, why, this is obviously a show about people punching each other. Why can't you just be honest about it?
Yeah,
Why do you have
well,
to try to bring in these ratios and infinity concepts?
I actually don't mind when like they have very clearly defined technique and like abilities and stuff. But I I'm really glad that Nanami actually explained that to like multiple people, and I think like the character comment on that as well.
Yeah. Oh, I hated
Still don't still don't get his ability at all.
I don't know. He
Like,
just
after
finds
hearing
their
that two or
he
three times.
creates a weak point by like I don't know.
That's where I lost.
Yeah. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
But he does continually explain his ability to different characters, and you're right, they all do remark on it, and I hate that so much. I hate shonen scenes of people. The only show where I've ever enjoyed something like that is Hunter x Hunter, because what's interesting about Hunter x Hunter is the entire universe and the evolved humans, I guess, who can use Nen. So they have to go about explaining their powers because that contributes to your overall understanding of an entire fucking like galaxy that Togashi is building in Hunter x Hunter. In Jujutsu Kaisen, these powers are not building up to something beyond all the characters. It's not the sum of the parts, the whole being greater than the sum of the parts. It's just a way for them to hit people. And if that's the case, then just let them go to town on each other. Just let them beat the crap out of each other. I don't need him to keep explaining
let's
himself.
Learn about the ability. Like this is like the opposite with Ninja Scroll, where they don't explain their ability at all.
Exactly,
but we can pick up slowly what their ability has.
More shonen series should be like Ninja Scroll.
Yep. Short and sweet.
But then they wouldn't be shonen series because the reason that people over-explain their abilities and stuff in these adaptations of shonen properties is because those are just adaptations of the thought bubbles and the speech bubbles and the little info boxes that appear across pages and pages of like, when characters use their powers for the first time. The person authoring the manga is like, all right, well, let me go ahead and slow down and explain to the 12-year-olds reading this what exactly is happening. That's just being adapted into animated form, and it means people standing still, talking, thinking, going into another dimension where it's like graphics being used in little chibi versions of the characters while they explain what's going on and stuff. I'm not a really big fan.
Yeah, all right. I think we spent too much time talking about how unimpressed that second half of Jujutsu Kaisen was. So let's move on to the next one.
Okay. What's that?
Let's go with Kamisama and Natta Hi.
Oh boy, the negativity train continues. This was some shit.
Yeah. I think you're gonna hate the development of the second half, but tell me more.
Straight up. This was bad. Oh god.
Yeah.
All right, so this is episode 7 to 11, right?
Right.
So episode 7 is the one where they film the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
So still like hatching all these, fun summer activity stuff.
Right. Yeah, except for the last 5 minutes of that episode where the hacker dude is running around town.
Figure out something.
Yeah, he's trying to find a picture. He runs, it's I can't remember what was the setup. I remember that at the end he runs up a conveyor belt, which is dropping stuff into like some kind of crushing machine that's gonna kill him to death if he falls into it. And he's like finds the photo that he was looking for in the trash, and he's like doing a little dance of joy when all of a sudden he starts to fall and he's rescued at the last second. That was really stupid. But apart from those last 5 minutes, it was about hijinks. But I didn't really like episode 7 very much because it felt really, I don't know, it felt lame that all of these people that he's met over the course of like the ramen and the mahjong and all that, they would all just suddenly be his friends, which he has now thanks to Hina, the goddess. And they're all
Yeah.
going to be involved in the making of this movie, even though I'm sure they have things to do.
Yep. I think that's the thing. That's supposed to be the thing that that Hina could co-up like on these characters, and like they have like a really perfect summer. I think that's in intention. It's just that yeah, the whole thing about that feel kind of repetitive at that point. But then the whole show, it just like after that episode, it just go into like freaking um, banana. Like we follow up the point of view of the IT guys, and we learn a bit of his flashback, which also making no sense. It on the same level of Jujutsu Kaisen's that guy flashback.
What guy's
Jubei
flashback?
flashback.
Oh.
Jubei.
Yeah, no,
And
Junpei's backstory
then
makes way more sense than what happened in Kamisama ni Natta Hi. Also, you just skipped
and
over
then
the beach episode.
which one? The beach.
Yeah, see that was episode 8, and that was the only thing I liked about episode 8 was that its title was like the beach episode, but that was a reference to the fact that the main character, what's his Yota, talks with Hina's biological father at the beach.
Oh, right. All right.
They have
I
that
remember
conversation
that
about
now.
that's
So,
where we learn that she has Logos syndrome, like a muscular degenerative disease.
yeah.
And as soon as that
Alright.
happened, I was like, oh shit, here we go. Here's the Jun Maeda shit, where
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
little girls have to like be regressing medically and have something terribly wrong with them, so that the main character can like take care of them in a really weird
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
Oh god, and that's exactly what we
Yeah.
fucking got. Good lord.
It
I'm mad.
it kind of like, well, it I'm certainly can say that episode 8 is like the most interesting episodes out of like the whole second half that we watch. The way that it still juggle the comedy first before going full drama. So remember when Yota realized like sort of realized that no one can see Hina,
Yeah.
and then he has like some he was afraid, and he was thinking like oh, maybe Hina was a ghost.
Right.
And then and then it turned out right directly that everyone already see Hina and stuff.
Yeah.
And
She's getting a
then
different drink,
right
which is
after that
taking
it's
long.
go Furama.
Right.
Yeah, and then right after that it's go Furama again.
Yeah.
And yeah, it I don't know, it just feel I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I like it or not, but it actually I think it's like the essential of this show.
The
It
essence of
can
the show,
go,
yeah. I guess that makes sense.
yeah, it's yeah, the DNA of the show. It can go like a really nonsensical and funny at one point, and then go full drama the next.
I mean, up until this point, episode 8, it was mostly comedy, right? It was the only real
Yeah.
drama we got was in episode 5 with Narukami.
Inazumi.
I think that's the girl's name.
Kyoko. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Kyoko,
Kyoko.
that's easier to say. Her
Yeah.
dad, convincing her dad to watch the videotape that her mom left behind before her death.
That's right.
I mean, which has
Yep.
little to no bearing on anything that comes afterwards, mind you. That was just a tearjerker episode for the sake
And
of
one off.
sadness.
Agree.
But the thing about episode
And
8 is that it does veer into very dramatic territory, learning about Hina, that she has this Logos syndrome thing. But the thing is, I didn't even like putting aside the comedy versus drama
Yep.
comparison. Just looking at the drama, I don't even think that their conversation makes a lot of sense, because Hina's dad is a man who like abandoned his daughter and went to start a new life with a new family. And so when Yota, seeks him out and says that this is your daughter, Hina, and she's walking around and having fun with the dog, splashing around in the waves and stuff. This man is a doctor.
Yep.
He knows without a shadow of a doubt there is literally no chance, there is no cure for Logos syndrome. It's not possible that this could be Hina. That is impossible. But when
Yep.
Yota says this is Hina, he's like, well, if you say it's Hina, then this must be her. This must be my daughter. And you know what?
Yep.
I don't care. Like
No,
I have a new life now, and what I mean, if you were him and you were a human being who wants to hold on to your new life and your new reality with your wife
Yep.
and your new children, wouldn't you deny that this pink-haired mystery girl who doesn't have muscular dystrophy is your daughter? You would say, no, this can't be her.
Yeah.
That's not possible.
Yeah, I would at least saying that. At
Yeah,
least.
but instead,
but they,
instead he doesn't do that because the show wants to sell us on this like ideological struggle between the two perspectives, where like the dad says,
right.
"Oh, well, sometimes you gotta, you just gotta move on," and Yota's like, "No, you don't."
Yeah, there are two things I want to point out that about this. The first is that like even at the point it should be between Hina and Hina fathers. It's like Yota have nothing to do with that, but the whole episode just revolve around Yota and Hina dad, and that freaking weird for me, because it's Hina who wanted to see the dad.
No, that's
And
wrong,
then
isn't it?
they
It was
have, like,
Yota who wanted to see the dad, and Hina wasn't excited about it, right?
Easy. I think it was Hina who were asking about that. I might double check on that.
I'm almost certain that
And-
it was Yota, because there's a scene where Yota learns the truth from his parents, who say,
Right,
that, "Oh
right,
no,
right.
Hina is not actually related to us. She was,
Yep.
their college professor was taking care of her, and he wasn't her actual grandfather and stuff." And when he hears that,
Yep.
he's like, "Well, we got to reunite Hina with her dad. I mean, we got to do it." And Hina wasn't really on board with it. But she goes with him because she determines, she realizes, there's no stopping you. Like, you're going to go anyway, so I might as well go too.
Yep. And the second thing is, and I think I speak to you on that one. I just feel like the whole drama is really forced. They force it to the point they want to make a lot of times.
What point is that?
I think that should. All right. It like in this episode it's more they want to force us to see the different ideology between Yota and Hina's father.
Yeah.
And then later on, when Hina got kidnapped, it tried to make us feel a lot about how to take care of the thing. When we get to that, I will be more, more specific on that.
Well, let's go ahead and dive straight into that, man, because as weird as episode 8 was,
Yep.
and as ham-fisted as it was, and as driven as it was by like an ideology that it wanted to put up on screen and have Yota wrestle with, I guess. That was nothing.
Yep.
That was nothing
Compared
to the 3 episodes that followed. Nothing.
But tell me how you feel. I'm curious.
All right, so first of all, episode 9 was one of the dumbest anime episodes of the year, for sure. The hacker,
I'm sure
that's the hacker episode.
Yep.
Where he's like, his parents teach him how to hack the New York Stock Exchange or some shit.
Yep.
To make them money, and then when he refuses to do it, they start beating him up. And so we don't learn anything really about how he develops these abilities, right? He just is a super genius and can hack anything.
Yep.
And like, how did he learn? We don't know. What kind of lives were his parents leading? What were they involved in that would cause them to make this request of their son? We don't know. What's important is that he's mistreated by them, and then when he comes home and they end up dead, he starts laughing maniacally like a supervillain with his parents' blood splattered all over the walls.
Yeah, and I don't think they dead either, but Maybe
Wait,
there's
why
some
do you think
twist
they're not
behind
dead?
that, but we don't care. We don't care.
Why do you think they're alive?
Because we don't really see like they getting killed or anything. We just all we see is that all the blood spattering the windows and the wall.
Yeah.
And I feel like it kind of set up for to trap him into like doing just focus on his things and not be bothered by his parents.
Huh. No, okay. I mean, I don't think that's really necessary for the show to go to that length. I think
Yeah, I
they're
don't
just
think
dead
that
now.
necessary either.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
regardless of the fate
All
of his
right, go on.
parents, he assumes that they are dead, and so he's laughing about it, and he's screaming, serves you right, that'll show you, for punching and kicking me.
Yep.
So of course he needs to be taken in somewhere, and some like organization, I forget what they keep referring to it as, what name they keep giving
Yeah,
it.
some
The
kind
company
of facilities.
or
Yeah.
the organization or something. So they take him in and they make him do all their shit for them. And so then, we flash forward to the present time, and we learn that Hina has this computer chip in her brain. And
Yep.
dude, what I loved was the scene of all the authorities, like the higher powers, the politicians or whatever,
Yep.
being like, approved or authorized when they were gonna take
Yep.
the chip out of her. That was just so amazing. The way that there's a bunch of like omnipowerful shadow men forming a cabal of of malevolence hovering over Japanese society, and they're gonna take this computer chip out of this little girl's head, just making it just as dramatic as possible. We just have to lay on like I don't know, what is this? Is this social commentary? What is this? Like there's people out to get you. Nobody is safe. The government is just pulling all the strings. What is this?
Nah, I don't think so. No, I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, I can totally see your point.
All right, you got to take it from here. I'm out.
All right. One thing that's really weird. All right. I will start with this first. I think Hina is like the soul of the series, and then by taking her out of the pictures, Yota remained really boring. He's a boring protagonist to follow it, and that show in I think episode 9 or 10 when the IT guy pretend to be their friends,
It's
and
episode 10.
some time have passed, and episode 10, all right, and Yota couldn't pick up on all the hints that the IT kid gave him.
Right.
And like right at the end, he just started to pick up and went to Hina's place. But that episode is just to show how boring Yota is. He doesn't have any clue. He just passive. He just interesting to follow it. And
He's interesting to follow?
Uninteresting.
Oh, yeah, I guess. I mean,
And
I haven't really detected a change in his character at all. He's just Yuji Everly, the potato-faced bland guy. But I mean, I get that sense all the time when watching anime. So
Yep.
I don't feel as though he's especially boring. Like, I guess that's kind of something that my brain has gotten accustomed to. I don't know.
And then it would make much more sense if Hina disappeared instead of getting kidnapped. Because, like, if a girl getting kidnapped, the authorities have to be, more involved than this. Then some time have passed and we don't see the side of Hina and everyone miss her kind of stuff.
Dude, that's so true. I hadn't even considered the fact that the way that she's abducted makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Why would these agents come for her at this? Where were they? They were filming, and they were in some sort of like pool or office building or something.
A park.
Yeah. So as
Yeah,
soon as these shadowy cabal agents of as soon as they hand
from
down their authorization
the
for
Matrix.
the
Oh,
computer chip to
right.
be taken out of her brain, that immediately
Yep.
the government agents, like looking like Mr. Smith from the Matrix, they come to this place and they're like, "We're gonna get you." But then all of Hina's friends, form a line in front of her, like, "No, you're not gonna take our friend. We're gonna defend her, and we're making a line in front of her
Yep.
to show our friendship. You can't get past us with your guns." And your literal years and decades of experience as government
Martial
agents.
act.
Holy shit.
Yep.
So then they run in the rain and, she gets kidnapped and Yoda's like, I love you.
Yeah. That was the best 3 months summer vacation now. Oh, it's not even 3 months, I think it's just like a month, 30 days.
Yeah,
And the
right,
whole
because
thing
the
about
world's going to
like
end in
the
30 days.
yeah, the world's gonna end thing, it's just kind of anticlimax. Like since he said like, all right, it's not the world that end, it's me who gonna end. So I see the world is ending as well. Like I don't
Right.
understand that logic.
Right. Oh, I
And
mean, I get it.
all right,
If it's a computer program, like, if a computer program is set to shut down in 30 days, then it
all
wouldn't
right.
be
So
able to
why?
envision anything beyond that. So its
Yep. All right.
termination would read the same as like the termination of the universe.
Right. Would it be better if like this guy who just wait for her for that device to be deactivated instead of like doing the brain surgery, kidnap her and doing the brain surgery and then put her into some freaking no name buildings?
No, that's the entire point. The reason that the reason she knew the world was ending in 30 days was because her artificial intelligence, her computer chip, is so advanced that it predicted the future.
Yep.
And she knew that in 30
All right.
days it was going to be removed from her.
Right. All right. All right.
I mean,
All
she
right.
may not have
I'm
known it
not.
in those terms, but she did know that she would like cease to be herself in 30 days. So it wasn't actually
Right.
the computer chip's
Cool.
failure. The government people couldn't just wait for
Yep.
that. They had to take action, and that was what she predicted, that
All right.
people
All right.
would take action against her.
All right. Cool. I'm not tamper about that point anymore. Let's go to the episodes where Yota actually see the true sickness.
God.
How you feel about that?
Okay, I
I'm
do have to say that
actually-
episode 11 was a comedy gold mine. The sudden backstory of this woman who's taking care of Hina, who we're supposed to hate, because she's getting in the way of Hina and Yota's love or relationship, whatever that's supposed to be. She's in the way of that, because she's taking good care of Hina, and so we're supposed to hate her. And then the sudden flashback or the sudden backstory. Oh, she had a child with a terrible disease, and this is why she's like such a bitch, Except no, she isn't, and I related 100% more to everything she said
Yeah.
than I did to what Yota
Compared
said.
to
He was
Yota.
bringing in a video game console, saving a little traumatized girl's heart with the power of video games. This is just otaku bait.
And
You can save her with your
Yeah.
gaming skills. I'm so mad about this. This is horrible.
well, yeah. When he actually when he was thinking that like what of these that Hina knows that he knows that Hina gonna like that
Right.
that the other girl doesn't know.
Mhm.
I would immediately think of mahjong games, and no, they have to go with the video games, and he have to stay all night in that room with the sick girls sleeping next to him, and he give the girls like some of the really fake reason why he keep playing. It just
Right.
it's one of the really first thing that I must have mentioned. Another thing is that my God, we we need more time to talk about this. Another thing is Yota, like all of his behavior are really like desperate. So
Yes.
he become really annoying. Like he doesn't really know about Hina condition, and he being really insensitive about that.
I
So
know, dude.
the whole two episode,
Every single
we
interaction that he has with her, like going into her room, this is a mentally traumatized
yep,
child.
yep,
He's. I mean, this is why I'm mad, honestly, because the show, and
yep,
I mean,
hmm
Jun Maeda does this all the time. He gets away with it every time. Fucking hack.
hmm
He makes his heroine out to be, you know, like some mentally deficient or physically deficient. There's some deficiency with his heroines. You know, they're all sick and they're all gonna die,
yep,
or they have some sort
yep,
of like mental block that they can't get past or something. Like
hmm
it borders on like fetishization. Only it's not presented that way in these
hmm
episodes. In these episodes, like this is some serious shit. But
yep,
the protagonist can't get a clue about it. He's touching her when it's not appropriate. He's like criticizing the way that she's playing this video game and like
yeah,
putting on airs and trying to be like, "Oh, well, you're going down the other path. You were supposed to go to the left, but I guess you're going to the right." I mean, that's okay if you really want
yeah.
to go that way. It's just
All right,
I want to reach to the screen and literally strangle him.
yeah. Right. All right. I think the show have make the point that like Yota being really insensitive about that, but I wish he learned about that. All the things that he had done is just for one and one point only is that notice me, senpai.
Right, because he
He
wants her to
tried
make
to
eye contact with him.
yeah
And yeah,
to
that's a big
realize him.
oversimplification. Like, because the show pits Yota against this caretaker woman, and the caretaker woman keeps saying, "Well, did you get her to make eye contact with you? Well, but did she look you in the eyes, though? Well, but did the two of
Yep.
you look at each other face to face?" You know, she keeps saying it over and over, so we as the audience are conditioned, to think, "Oh, well, if he can just get Hina to look at him, then their love will
Yep.
be rekindled and he'll be able to take her away from this horrible place where she's receiving world-class medical care."
Yeah, and all of Yota effort will not go in vain.
Right.
It's actually valid, and I'm just curious to see like what Yota gonna do if he get Hina out of the facility. Where would be the best for her? So I'm actually really concerned about that.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I can't imagine how this will end. Like, because the other thing that the show is commenting on is like is the idea that it wasn't the computer chip. You know, it really was Hina that he was bonding with
Yep.
and coming to
Mm-hmm.
love. So I don't really agree with that. Like, I agree with the other woman when she says that it was the computer chip, because we're meeting Hina now. This is
Yep.
we're
This is
meeting.
real her.
Yeah, and I mean, there's trauma on top of that, though, because, like, she came in with a shaved head. There was the cranial surgery. She's afraid of men for some reason. Just seems like a very
Yeah.
strange obstacle to be written into the script that Yoda has to overcome with the power of his penis. She's afraid of men, so now you gotta.
Talking about penis, we got that in Jujutsu Kaisen.
Did we? What penis stuff did we have in
Yeah,
that show? I don't remember.
That's one of the ultimate. Right at the end, where we have like a 10-15 second shot of Gojo, kind of prank to the others.
I don't remember
Have
this.
have you watched that after the credit?
Yeah,
Usually,
the
like,
Juju
after the
Sampo. Those little
Yep.
cutesy looking things with the pastel color scheme.
Yeah, so
I know
he-
exactly what you're talking about. I just
he-
don't remember the penis one.
Yeah, so he keep necking Nanamis at one of the episodes, and apparently he sent Nanami one of the like the postcard, the card, and he opened it, and it just a picture of the penis.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
All right,
sounds
let's
more
just get back to
entertaining.
Kamisama.
Yeah, that sounds more entertaining than the bulk of what happened in the last few episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen. Yeah, obviously I'm just very mad um,
Yeah,
about. Oh, dude. So
I can
let's
see
let's talk
why.
about let's talk about something that's actually funny. At the end of episode 11, where he this is why I said it's a comedy goldmine. Yota gets the message
Yep.
on his laptop saying, "Who are you?" And the sender is security officer. He just says, "Who are
Yeah,
you?"
security officer.
Yeah, and
And yep.
that back and forth on the computer is so funny. Like it's written by someone who has no grasp of English whatsoever. It's not grammatically
Give me some more
incorrect,
time.
but the vocabulary is just
Yep.
so limited. Who are you? I need more time. No, this is bad. And then the word. Do you remember the scene where the word "bad" is like
Yep.
magnified and then
Yep.
duplicated across the entire screen?
Yep. Yep.
Oh
Yep.
man, dude, I busted out laughing. I was. That makes all
Well,
11 episodes worth it.
yeah. Well, we all know that this show is a comedy show. No drama at
Yeah.
all. Like everything's supposed to be just in Yota mind or Hina mind. That could
Oh
be.
yeah, I mean maybe this will all end up being a dream. It could all be a simulation on the computer chip that was inside Hina's brain. Oh
Oh my god.
no. I figured it out.
All right, that should made that for you.
Has he done an ending like that before? Like
No,
and
he,
it was all a
he
dream
hasn't.
ending or it was all a game
No.
ending?
Nope, 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 nope.
No,
Not
okay.
yet. Not that I'm aware of.
Well, Angel Beats
All
was
right.
like it was all purgatory or something, right?
Yeah, that's right. Oh my god, I don't remember much of Angel Beat.
I'd never even
I just
finished it.
remember like the main characters of Angel Beat is like the second Haruhi Suzumiya.
Oh, I mean that makes sense. You got to cash in.
All right. We still got one other show to go through, so let's go with that. Akudama Drive.
Can't we talk more about Kamisama Natta Hi?
I think we should spend like a whole postcard episode to talk about what problem with Kamisama and to make it clear for you, despite all that, like some of the emotional beat in Kamisama, I still get swept up by it.
What in these episodes?
In this episode, yes.
Which ones?
Like when I see like Hina in that form, it had like, some kind of effect on me as well.
Oh.
And when that lady caretaker talking about like is it the real Hina was it the cheap Hina that you was bonding with?
Right.
I can see that point. I can see the point, and I can see like how Utah wanted to like overcome that. So like I still feel it. So that's why I feel like the show is really forced and manipulated, but at the same time, sometimes it still swept me away.
Yeah. I mean, you said kind of a similar thing when we talked about the show a few weeks or a month ago.
Yeah, true.
But
True.
I just can't. I can't even. My heart's
Yep.
too cold
Yep.
and closed off for that. And I think with good reason. I mean, my original read on the series
Yep.
was that I liked the first episode, but I saw that quickly it was headed towards a future that I wanted no part of. And I feel pretty damn justified in that after these episodes.
Yep. Well,
But anyway,
Jesus.
yeah.
But the drama, guys, it's just so ultra multi. It's just so dramatic.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
Akudama Drive. How you feel about
Sure.
the show so far?
I mean, of the 4 shows that we're talking about,
Yep.
it's the best, I would say.
Alright.
I think.
Yep. Well, I still enjoy it.
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
All right, so the second half of Akudama Drive is more about like these main characters, like they die one by one, and I actually like the fact that like each of the characters have their own agenda, and they could be like the main protagonists of their own stories, and when clashing all together. So by that I think like I still see that the Swindler is the weakest characters out of everyone.
Still, as of episode 11, you think that?
Still, yes.
Wow, really? So not a fan of episode 8 then, when she and
All
sister take
right.
shelter in that garbage treatment plant.
Yeah,
You remember
it
what I'm
was
talking about?
alright.
Oh,
I
I love
remember
that
what you're talking
episode
about.
where
All right.
she
Tell me more
kills
about that then.
those three
Oh
dudes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that.
I love that
Actually, she
episode.
has some skill, and I still imagine that she is something more than like the show let on. But we only got like one episode left, and they
Yeah.
still haven't even like touch on that. So maybe she's like the original girl.
What do you mean the original girl? Just an ordinary girl?
Like ordinary, yeah, sorry, the
Yeah.
ordinary girls.
Yeah, I think she is, and I mean I think that was the plan for her from the start. Was that she would
Yep.
be ordinary,
Mm-hmm.
and the show would use the fact that there's an ordinary person here in this group of wacky crazy murderers to comment on the fact that like just because you're labeled the killer doesn't mean that you're a bad person, I guess. Because I mean think about the
Yeah, well,
direction that the show has gone in, right?
yep.
It's all about like
I yeah,
police brutality and systemic corruption and stuff now. Like anyone can be labeled an Akudama as long as the execution department has it in for you.
yep,
So the
yep.
fact that this ordinary person has been traveling around with these killers is kind of highlighting the fact that they're all human beings. Both she,
Yep.
an ordinary person, and these killers
Yep.
are all human at their core. And I think episode 8
Yeah.
underscores that
Well,
because she kills for the first time, and yet she maintains her humanity. As
right.
opposed to
And then we get
institutions like the execution department who have become corrupt over time and have like lost their humanity.
yep. And it's this in the execution who actually killed this Akudama, who used to be like labeled as human. So they get their hand dirty as well.
Yeah. Yeah. The show definitely, the plot gets very, very dirty. It's all about,
Yep.
it's all
And
about how evil the
I
execution
really
department is. I assume that's going to be the focus of the very last episode because, like, Kanto, who were set up as, like, the villains, this mysterious other world where you have to pass through a barrier that separates your mind from your body or, like, eliminates all organic material. They were kind of set up as, like, the end boss because they're the ones who commissioned the production of these immortal beings, all brothers and sisters, like
Yep.
clones.
Yep.
And they're going to we found out in episode 11 they're going to use their bodies as vessels. It's like Evangelion almost. Spoilers for
All right.
Evangelion. But now Kanto's been defeated as of the end of episode 11, right?
Has they? No, they just saved the brother and sister. I'm not sure if like the end boss has been like officially defeated.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be hard to tell what exactly went on in that hacking scene, which looked like literal Gohan's production, with the rainbow color filters and the random geometric shapes flying all over the screen and hacker like.
Alright, I actually don't mind about that. But now that when you compare it to Gohan's, it's just leave a bad taste on my mouth.
Didn't it look kind of like Gohan's?
It doesn't actually look like Gohan's. Gohan's look more wholesome. Alright. I really like the fact that the two fact that I like the two development that I like in the second half of this is that first it still give time for this for all the character to shine. So we got like time for the doctor, one for the cutthroat. I think you've been complaining that it's halted the main progress of the show, but I like this like like we will still learn more about these characters at it's get to the end. And actually, now speaking of that, Swindler maybe special because the way that Cutthroat still see the halo, the red halo of her.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That actually does that to me is the most convincing piece of evidence in the like Swindler is somebody really significant theory.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because even if the halo were just like a metaphor for his obsession with her, how would he be able to see
Yep.
it from really far away? Which he does.
That's right.
He can see it even when she's like miles and miles away. Like it points him towards her.
It's, yep.
Which
And it's getting bigger
doesn't
and
make
bigger as well.
Oh, it gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's getting bigger and bigger. The halo.
Yeah, so if at the end of everything she does end up just being a normal person, then that halo thing won't make any fucking sense at all. That'll just be
It just means that his obsession towards her.
yeah, his obsession was
And
just
killing her.
beyond the limits of physics.
Yep. Oh wow! In every freaking plot development in this series is beyond the logic of physics.
That's
like
true.
how the doctor
Yeah, tries to
have her head chopped off, she can still heal herself.
right. And we saw her at the end of episode 10, I think, trying to sew it back on.
Yep.
Before she was
Yep,
trampled
yep,
to
yep.
death by the crowd who were coming in to like worship the Shinkansen,
Yep.
which was
yep,
weird.
Yep.
I still don't exactly get. I mean, I guess I do get it. Like the Shinkansen is the one link between Kansai and Kanto, and people revere Kanto.
Yep.
So the Shinkansen, because it travels back and forth between them, like it's a sacred vessel. But it's still very strange to me, like people flooding the basement of this of this place.
Yep.
What is it, like a station, Kansai station, I think they call it. They're flooding the basement just to come down here and like see this train and be like, "Oh, Shinkansen, whoa!"
Let's get on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did
Yeah,
get on,
and
didn't they? And their fates were
they
never
did get on.
explained.
And maybe that's a Shinkansen that will get shot at the end of episode 11.
Wait, what? What did happen at the end of episode
Wait.
11 after Hacker, saves the two kids?
All right. Yep. And curious like take them into the place where no one knows. And right at the end, the execution girl, the one who lost her eyes,
Right.
order the other execution to blow the Shinkansen up.
Ordered. What?
It yeah, it just taking for like 5 seconds, and I think it's like the after credit as well.
Okay. I kind of she
Yeah, but
is she putting brother and sister back into? Dude, I don't even remember.
yeah, so
I'm lost.
yeah, so so I'm not really sure why the execution like blowing the Shinkansen up, because I don't recall that Swindler and the rest and the gang went to the Shinkansen like at the end of episode 11.
At the end of episode 10.
10? All right.
So the timeline is episode 10. That's when everyone gets
Yep.
on the Shinkansen. Like everybody is on there.
Yep.
And then at episode 11, and actually the start of episode 11 was one of my favorite moments of this entire show.
Yeah, I like it as well.
I figured you would because it's very like it kind of reminded me of Gridman episode 9. It's like a dream within a dream.
Yep.
You're not really sure what's reality. And I was really
Yep.
intrigued by the fact that they duplicated the opening of episode 1, but there's that slight change where Courier doesn't drop the 500 yen coin, and they both just get their takoyaki and walk away. And when I saw that, I was like, "Oh boy, here we go! Is this an alternate dimension? Are we in Kanto? What's happening right now?
Yeah.
What's going on?" And then the hacker droid. You learn that Hacker is like interfering with their dreams and trying to save them and stuff. It was really cool.
Yep.
So then they're all on the Shinkansen, and Hacker, because when they wake from their dream
And they,
after Hacker saves
yeah,
them, they're there on the train.
right.
And then
And then they got into Kanto, in which they see like the real what Kanto is. And
yeah.
then after they saved the brother and sister, they decided to go to the place where Hacker point them out. That would be safe.
Oh, he gives them like coordinates. He gives coordinates
Yep.
to Swindler. But isn't it like just her who's going there?
Yeah, just her. But I'm I remember that Curious want to go with them as well. Like after the conversation, like Curious said, like my job is end here and stuff. But I think he follow her and the kids. But like I don't remember what happened after that. Did they go back to the Shinkansen?
I don't
Do
remember.
they? What kind of transportation that they go?
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Right.
the
Or
overwhelming
maybe
visual stimulation of Hacker's hacking scene was just like it just
yep.
wiped my brain, and I just forgot everything else that happened afterwards. I was too
The
mesmerized
go
by
hands
the
effect.
flashing lights. Yeah, by the Gohan's production
Yeah.
inspiration.
All right. So I did mention that I like the fact that the rest of the second half of the show still focus on these characters, and I like that that they each have their own agenda, so they don't like work as one team, but they like they go making conflict with each others. So I especially like Doctor and Cutthroat and even Hoodlums in terms of that, and Hacker have like a showing in the last episode as well.
Right.
The second thing that I like is they really go beyond on their world building, so making the whole conflict between Kaito and Kansai and all this, and make it more and more intriguing that as time goes by. So I like the fact as well. I don't think that it's like the riot is um be developed to the full extent, but
Yeah.
I still like that they attempt to do that.
Yeah, the riot, all the rioting and that whole plot line about the corruption of the execution department, and Kanto kind of having a hand in that.
Yep.
Like the influence that is coming from Kanto. That's why the execution department is so messed up. Because you see the boss having those conversations with like those weird holographic columns where you see the faces of the Kanto bosses.
Yep.
It's it just feels a little thin to me. The whole idea that all the executioners are, putting down the protesters by any means necessary, and just too much,
Yep.
I think. But I
But
do think, and this is what I was like 15 minutes ago, whatever, when we were talking about it. I made some kind of allusion to the idea that now that Kanto has quote unquote been defeated, or at the very least their vessels for like eternal life, brother and sister, have been stolen away. So
yep.
Kanto is like they've been foiled, I suppose. So now that has happened, I think the stage is set for the execution department to be, like disbanded.
Active.
I think that's what's going to be,
Oh.
that's what's going to happen in episode 12. That'll be the resolution of the series. The execution department will be disbanded, and the concept of Akudama, like super ultra criminals, will be done away with.
That's interesting. Yep.
Kind of like an anti-discrimination message in the end. And honestly, I don't know how well that's going to work, because like the Akudama are super dangerous and messed up. Like Cutthroat is out here hallucinating halos over people's heads and like slitting the throats of 1,000 men.
Yeah, true.
However, the show is clearly going for some sort of social commentary with the whole police brutality thing. So I think that's going to be the focus of the final episode, and we'll see if they pull it off.
Yeah, and I'm really appreciate the fact that the show have been really ambitious for and ambiguous as well for a lot of things. Like there's like hint of here and there that speak to like um more into their world building, and that just interesting by itself. Like you see like the facility that brother and sister they live in with all the other kids, and the image that like you remember that image where they where the all the ghosts of all the kids just swimming underneath them.
Yes.
I
Once
love
again, inspired by Evangelion.
all right, cool.
And I mean, Evangelion probably got it from somewhere else too. I mean, that was a very striking image. I wouldn't be surprised if, you
Yeah.
know, some sci-fi movie or even work of literature
Yeah.
is where that concept came from. But yeah, that there's
Alright.
that, and there's also the you know what reminded me of 2001 a little bit was the scene in that episode 7, with the flashback to brother and sister in the facility.
Yep.
There was a scene of like, I don't remember who exactly was speaking to it, but there was like a pattern of lights in the darkness
All right.
that looked kind of like the top of a
Uh-huh.
carnival tent. It was like they were like red and orange and purple, and they were all lit up.
Right.
And we were hearing a computerized voice coming from it, like this was Kanto.
I don't. Right. I don't recall that at all. But
Okay.
all right.
That
Well.
really reminded me of 2001.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I thought of that when you said the
Yeah.
imagery in that episode. I thought for sure that's what you were talking about, but then you mentioned all the clones.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I love that image, and
Yeah.
So I love the whole ride. For now, it's a pumpy ride, but it's still like really, I'm still hooked, like from start to finish. So I think that's a good point for the show.
Yeah, it remains interesting. Despite it being so outlandish and crazy, and people getting their heads chopped off and sewing themselves back up and stuff, and like extended
Yep.
homages to The Shining and everything else that it throws at you, it does retain
Yep.
a consistency in
Yep.
tone somehow,
Mhm.
which is more than
Yep.
I can say for a lot of these other shows that we've been talking about. Even though they are narratively
Right.
like less daring and perhaps simpler, they don't have that consistency, which is weird.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that's just
I
how it ended
agree.
up.
All right. Um, let's talk a bit quickly about Sunny, shall we?
Sure. Good as always.
Yeah, good as always. I just basically reading this just like minutes before our podcast.
Right. Now, were you speed reading? Do you remember anything that you read?
I do. I took a little notes as well.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Um,
Do you have a favorite chapter, or what do you like? What stood out to you here?
one. All right, one favorite chapter for me this time. Yeah, let. All right, other the one as well, so two.
Okay.
I like the chapter where Saya trying to running away.
Yeah. When we
I
when we
love
first
that
saw
just
him
be-
studying that book of the train times at the start of that chapter, I didn't think that it was going to be like. Of course, I recognized right away that he was plotting his escape when he was doing that, because after the old man leaves, he's like, "Phew, good thing I didn't get caught."
Yep.
I don't know if he says all of that, but
Yep.
that's clearly his attitude. But I didn't think that
Yep.
in that very same chapter he would attempt to run away. I thought the
Yeah.
manga was going to leave that on the back burner for a little bit, and then it would happen like chapters down the line. But he did try to leave right away, and it did not go very well.
Yep.
Ran into a light pole.
Yep. I just wonder like how he have all the money to buy the Shinkansen and stuff.
Oh,
Because
they get
he
allowance.
did list out like they do get allowance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Alright.
you see the kids discussing it sometimes. Like, for example, in the chapter where all the different homes. I don't know what to call them
Yep.
exactly. They're not orphanages exactly, are they? Foster homes?
Yeah. Well, I just
Yeah, all the different
yeah
foster
foster
homes have
home
that
or
baseball
fast.
tournament. And there's a bit of dialogue
Yep.
between like a girl from one of the homes and a girl from another one saying, "Oh, how much allowance do you
Yep.
get at so and so?" "Oh, probably not as much allowance as
Yep.
you get at your home, you know."
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So they get
mm-hmm.
allowance. So I imagine that Say, being like kind of strategic, was just saving up his money.
Yep. Yep. So we see how his plan just got you know um just just got out of the track right pretty quickly
Yeah, you might say that it
because of
went off the road a little bit.
yeah, that's right. Because obviously he hasn't been driving before, so it would be like unimaginable that he could like successfully drive the car by himself to the station. But
Yeah.
yeah, what got me it's just like when we read his very detailed plan.
Yes.
It actually really detailed, like down to the minutes, down to the actual station that he gonna go.
Yeah, and where he has
And
to change
it
trains and
and
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, had to change a lot of train in to Yokohama. I think that's the place that he lived, and they are in Osaka at the moment, which is like far away. Um, and like he had the plan to meet to buy flour to actually call back to the foster home to say sorry. So
Yeah.
he a responsible kid, buy the flour for the mom, go to that workshop and go home. It's just so sad that the way that he like his ultimate goal it's just to go home.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
before that we learned that like the father and mother not living there anymore.
Right. The mom, they don't know
But
where she is. The dad has gotten a new job and a new
yeah,
apartment. So even if Say had been
yeah, the
successful in his plan, there would be no one waiting for him.
yep,
That's the devastating
that's
part.
right.
Not that he crashed the
Yep,
car, but that his plan
yep,
was doomed from the start. That's crushing.
yep, yep. It's lucky that he crossed the car.
Yeah. Yes, it
Yep,
really is. I
yep,
mean, if he had showed
right.
up at the factory, like, I guess that he would have talked to someone there and they would still have his dad's contact information on file. Like, I don't think that would have been like a devastating result. But
Yep,
nevertheless, like, I don't know if they would have been able to get a hold of his dad right away or if he would have wanted to
right.
come pick him up or, like, yeah,
All
he's
right.
lucky
The
that he didn't get too far away from Hoshinoko because that's
well
where he ought to stay.
this scene the worst scene was gonna be that he couldn't find his dad, so he just go back to the apartment by himself and just wait there on the stair with the flower in his hand
Oh,
and
that's
just
so
waiting
sad.
there for forever. Yeah.
Man,
So
I could see this manga doing something like that with Haruo, for example.
yeah. Well, with Haru, we got like the first chapter where he follow other kid to the cities,
Right? That was the
and
first chapter in this volume 25. Yeah.
yeah, and wrecking stuff, stealing money from other fight kids. This guy
Yeah.
Haru,
Yeah. I mean, he
and
is kind of
doing
dragged along by
all
the other boy from
yep,
Yokaichi house. Um,
yep,
and there's that interesting scene
and
where
we can
Adachi is lecturing him in the car after he picks him up, and he's saying to Haruo, Yokaichi house, you wouldn't last half a day there. You're exactly where you
yep,
need to be. You're safe at
yep,
at Hoshinoko. But then we cut over to, or not cut. Then the next panel is Haruo asleep.
yep,
Of course he's not listening,
yep.
but he is safe.
Um,
He's safe enough that he
yeah,
can sleep in the car.
yeah, I'm a bit confused about the Nivea part. So like he lost his Nivea and then that boy just buy him the new one, or
Well, he went into a
is that something
drugstore.
something else going on?
He went into yeah. I
Yep,
I can see the alternative might be that the kid himself stole the Nivea,
yep,
and then
and save it off.
Well, no, he went into the drugstore and then came out with Haruo's actual Nivea, and he pretended that he had bought a new one, I guess.
Right. That makes more sense.
Well,
That makes
I
more
don't think
sense.
that's what happened. I think Haruo actually lost it. I mean, I don't know if there's a reason not to think that. Um,
Yep.
the kid is
Hmm.
manipulating him, and like dragging him
Yep.
along and kind of pressuring him into this. So it's possible that he took away the cream, because he wanted to use that to manipulate him. But I do think that he
Yep.
went into the store, and I think he probably stole a new thing of Nivea and just walked out with it.
Right. Uh, yep. And we see like how other kids are acting more mature than Haruo. And then when like it even tell him to forget about the parents. And I think that speak to Haruo directly in regard to that. But when like the adult come in, we see that like that kid is also just a kid.
Right. Yeah. And of course, we were going to get there was going to be something like that because everybody in this manga,
Yep.
no matter how grown up they try to act, they are a child, and
Yep.
you can't escape that.
All right. Tell me what is your favorite chapter out of the this volume?
I don't know. I don't know if I have a standout. I don't know.
The chapter about Keiichi, for example.
No, I'm not really into the Kenji plot line with Haruna, the girl. I've never
Yep.
really been super into that. And I mean, it ends kind of abruptly here because she,
Hmm.
the cats, the cat named Kenji and the other cats that she was feeding at the
Yep.
shrine, she,
Hmm.
he goes there to feed them and perhaps see her since she's missing in action. And then he finds out, oh no,
Yep.
somebody came by and took all the cats. And then we see her in the back of the limo, or
The
no,
cat.
the back of the car, as always, with the cats. And he's frustrated,
As they
'cause-
moving actually,
what's that?
because we as they moving, because we can see like all the boxes like in the back of the car.
Oh, her family's
So
moving.
yes, so maybe that her family moving. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that
And
at
that's
all.
why, yeah, and that's why she doesn't attend classes anymore or show
Hmm.
up anymore.
Right. We did learn that for sure because Kenji goes to
Yep.
the teachers, like the classic Japanese teacher's office. Whenever you see like a high
Yep.
school anime where one of the students goes into the teacher's
Yep.
lounge or whatever that room is, it's always in the same
Yep.
place in the
Yep.
building and it's always laid out exactly the same. Like they don't have separate desks. There's just
Yep.
two
Yep.
long tables and all the teachers work
Yep.
directly next to and across from one another.
Yep.
It's really
Um,
interesting.
I think, yeah, interesting, but I think that makes sense as well because it's just like in this break, like 15-minute break, that they go back to the office. Otherwise, they just go from home, from room to room
Right.
to for different classes to teach.
Yeah. Was that what is that not just a Japanese thing, but is that an Eastern thing? Were your
All right,
classes like
all
that?
right,
Did
that
your teachers move
all
instead of
right.
you moving?
Yeah, so that happened the same with my uh, with my education as well. When I was in first and when I was in high school, it also like this, I would say. But the interesting thing is like this. I think the school in Japan, they are more like indoor. So like people would wear different shoes, and
Hmm.
it's clean. It's clean as heck. Wow, as in here, you just wear like normal shoes. It's more like outdoor stuff.
Well, the
It's
the
just more like you
classroom.
attend to some building, the classroom.
Yeah, I mean the school is not outdoors, right? It's just
Yeah, it's
you don't
not
have to
outdoor,
change your
but we
shoes.
treat it like, yeah, we in back when I studied in Vietnam, we don't have to change the shoe or anything.
Yeah. But I assume you did in
We have to wear
other
uniform
contexts,
though.
in other situations, like at home. You probably took off your shoes before stepping up.
Yeah. So at home we will have to take out off our shoes.
Right.
So yeah, that is different.
That concept has actually made it into a lot of American homes. Like it's not as though you step up and into the house. It's not like that, like you
Yep.
see in Japan. But
Yep. Yep.
there,
Yep.
when you first come into a house, there will be like a foyer or a mudroom or something like that
Right.
before you actually enter the actual house. And a lot of families, like when I was growing up, at a lot of my
Yep.
friends' houses, and in fact, in my own house, you take off your
Yep.
shoes before you go into the house. Like you actually
Well,
enter
that.
through the door with your shoes on, but then when you're in the mudroom
Yep.
or in the foyer, you take off your shoes and there's like a place
Yep.
for you to put them, and then you actually keep
Uh,
walking.
all right. So that will be the same with my house, for example. I will do that. But most of the Western Australian will be just like they walking straight with their shoes on
Right.
in
I
the
mean,
house,
that's
and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
normal for them. It's normal for us.
yeah. That's normal in America too,
So
I think. But
yeah.
for like in my
So
experience, a lot of people's houses that I visited have adopted that idea of taking off your
yeah.
shoes, just keeping things clean.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was a
and
big
so it's
tangent.
just a bit. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of like telling them beforehand that you have to take off the shoes, so no big deal on that.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway,
All right, back to Shinji,
Kenji.
Kenji. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean the reason we
All
started
right, I
talking about
think.
this was because I brought up the teacher's office or the teacher's lounge, whatever that is.
Yep. Yep.
He goes in there
Yep.
to ask about Haruna's whereabouts, and one of the teachers that he asks says her parents pulled her out of school, and they made the right decision. It's not
Yep.
like she was going to accomplish anything anyway, which is
Mm-hmm.
a horrible thing to say. Oh my God, like you can't
Yeah.
say anything
It's so
worse as an
insensitive.
educator.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Like you
All
could
right, I
call
tell
your
you. Yeah.
you could like hit your student with a belt, and that probably wouldn't be as awful as saying like
Yeah.
there's no point in them being here. That's terrible.
Yeah. And I think like she already repeat a year, or she
Yeah.
is forced to repeat a year
Yeah,
because
she
of
did
that.
mention that to him.
Yep. All right. So the other favorite chapter of mine is the one where Magumu relative come to visit her and maybe trying to adopt her as well.
Yeah, we were never clear on that, were we? We never got a straight answer on that.
Yeah, we never get a straight answer. It just we know that they are in for the visit, and that Megamu is not entirely happy. I think she confused, so she just acting up for most of the part,
Yeah.
and then she was crying when the uncle like doing some making the effort to get the umbrella back. And I think that is something that they really spot on like display the thought of like the teenager her age.
She's
I
not a
don't even
teenager,
know
right?
like
She's in
what
primary school, I
she
think.
preteen, right?
Yeah, well, I
She
guess.
look
Yeah, she's
older
probably
than
11, maybe 12. Yeah.
yeah. Yep. Because like before that we see like how she like keep continuing thinking about that umbrellas, and then she just brush it off thinking that like it's just an old umbrella anyway. And then when the uncle and aunt aware of that and decide to go back, she was she was really keen on the idea. So that like there's a whole of like two conflicting thought about her for like wanting to spend more time with the relative, and like wanting to have like a step back from that as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, taking a step back from that, I guess that side of her is the dominant one for most of the chapter, like not wanting to spend time with them.
Yep.
But then
Really love that.
as she starts to get more comfortable with them, that's when she realizes that it comes in the wake of the movie.
Yep.
Because you see her like looking happily and wide-eyed up at the screen as they're seeing the film, whereas before that she wasn't really enjoying herself. So it's mostly that she doesn't want to, she doesn't want to act too pleased, to be like doted on and fawned over by these people, even though they are her relatives. She doesn't want to seem too pleased to see them and to get all this attention. But the movie like brings that out of her. She can't help it because it's so fun and so fantastic. And then she leaves the umbrella there, and this is an umbrella with the words Hoshinoko, like Star Kid's home, written on it. So I suppose that the umbrella is supposed to represent her attachment to the Star Kid's home, which like she leaves it behind in the theater. So the idea, I think, and this is where I wasn't 100% sure on what Matsumoto was going for here, like metaphorically. She leaves the umbrella in the theater, indicating like she's kind of loosening her grip on the Star Kid's home. She's the person who wants no one to move away. She knows she's going to be at Star Kid's home forever. She doesn't want anyone to move away. But she leaves the umbrella. So she's starting to like maybe warm to the idea of, the aunt and uncle potentially taking her, like adopting her, taking her away, something like that. Is that what we were supposed to get from the fact that she left her umbrella behind?
I think it's the opposite. It's more like she. I think it's more like she doesn't want to bother the uncle, the relative on what she really thinking, and she think that it's just like a small issues that like it's the old broken umbrella anyway. But see like the effort of the uncle and aunts in order to get this back, that make her tease up. So
right.
She more open up on that. So I don't think it's as the metaphor of she leaving the star kid home behind.
Okay.
I think it's a
so what exactly causes her to cry? Like, is it the fact that her uncle is going through this effort for her? Like he's acting paternal, he's acting fatherly. That's
what I take from it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. I was going like levels and levels deeper. I was thinking that like the uncle retrieving the umbrella, like she's warming up to the idea of perhaps being adopted, and so the uncle retrieving the umbrella, the Star Kids umbrella, brings her back to the reality of her life at Star Kids, at Hoshinoko,
when
and so like she cries for that reason. Like I guess you're probably right. I was looking too far into it.
Well, I'm sure that there's a more level of deep behind this.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't quite access everything that chapter had to offer. I don't think I didn't get all of it.
Right.
And the same was true, honestly, in chapter 30. But yeah, I mean, I like your read on chapter 29.
Yeah. So that's what I mean is that this is good when you like reread it, and you might pick up some of the other details on this as well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, although I really do like trying to gain meaning from things when I read them. I don't like it's if the work does have those levels to it, so that you can get a certain meaning from it one time and then read it again, and there's more information there. There's more meaning to it there that you can authentically reach on your own because it exists there in the text. That's great. That's like God tier writing. But if the problem is that the message is muddled and unclear, and you can't get something out of it concretely because there really isn't anything there, that's a problem. Yep. And I don't know. Like I don't know. And
that's frustrating as well.
Yeah. So I don't know if chapter 29, like, I don't know. Is it like entirely superficial, or I just wasn't satisfied with it reading it, but that could be my own fault, like looking too far into it. It's always a question, like how much of it is the reader and how much of it is what's being read.
Yep. How you feel about the last chapter then?
Yeah, the last chapter is another one where I wasn't. Is it the last chapter that I'm thinking about? It is another
The
one where I wasn't
Makio
sure if I
breaking
was
the
getting
conference.
everything. I wasn't sure if I was getting everything it had to offer. It's the typhoon one, right? Is that the one where I felt that way about? Oh no, it was chapter 27. Yeah, but chapter 30, I like chapter 30. That's the flashback one, a little bit.
Oh, is that supposed to be flashback? I think it's supposed to be the present time where they're not together anymore, but they
Oh, I
but
agree.
he has a date with her and decide to go to decide to bring her to the house to introduce her as a girlfriend. So it's a lie to begin with.
Yeah, I mean that was all set in the present, yes. But we do when I say flashback, I guess what I mean is that he's telling stories about Haruo from when he first
Yep,
came to the house.
yep,
And
yep,
in
yep, yep,
fact,
yep.
there are a couple pages, I think, panels of flashbacks. Like you see the state of the house, like a bomb went off
Yep.
um, after Haruo like had one of his tantrums.
Hmm.
And the detail that I really loved most about chapter 30 is that Makio's grandpa, the caretaker, says
Hmm.
says about Haruo, it's like he's the reincarnation of Tanishi.
All
Tanishi
right.
being the man who cut off one of the grandpa's fingers, who we met in a previous volume. You remember that guy?
Oh, right, right, right.
The man who
All
now has a
right. Yep,
job and
yep,
he's
yep,
married,
yep.
and he
Two
comes back for a
kids.
visit.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, dude, that chapter
Remember.
made me cry. Um,
Oh. Mhm.
where he accepts the gift. You know, the grandpa
Yep,
is
yep,
holding
yep,
out
yep,
the envelope with the gift in it. You see that one of his fingers is missing, and he like
yep, yep, yep.
and Tanishi
But
accepts it like
push
humbly.
out. Yep.
Yeah. Um, I'm pretty sure that guy was Tanishi. So there was a reference to him,
Mm-hmm.
like Haruo
Yep,
being like him in his,
yep.
in his violence and his uncontrollability. I thought that was neat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What do you think
All
about the
right.
typhoon? Is the typhoon like foreshadow? Because it doesn't feel when you get to the end of chapter 30 as though this typhoon story is over. Like the storm is still raging. Do you think it's setting up for
It
anything or?
it might be because we only have like a volume left, so that's might be the case. But this being a slice of life, might be it's just like a vintage of all these stories. So maybe not. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not being discussed again.
Hmm.
Is that the typhoon episode? The one with Junsuke?
Junsuke. No, Junsuke is the typhoon one is the last one, chapter 30 that we were just discussing. There's a typhoon happening in that.
Oh, right,
Like
right.
yeah, you see
Yep,
Makio
yep,
picking up
yep,
his ex-girlfriend or his girlfriend, who knows what they are at this point. Um
yep.
and yeah, like their hair
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah. I
flying all
remember
over
that.
over the place and you get the radio broadcasts about the wind speeds and stuff. The Junsuke
Yep,
chapter was chapter 27 where he has the sick day and
yep.
doesn't go to school.
Mm-hmm.
That actually might be my
Right,
favorite
right.
of these six. And the
All right.
reason for that is I really, really loved the last page where he gets on the phone with his mom and you see, like previously in the chapter, you
Uh,
see him envisioning the little 10 centimeter tall Junsuke and Shosuke
yep,
on the edge of his bowl of
yep,
applesauce.
yep.
And then
Mm-hmm.
that motif recurs on his mom's shoulder as they're talking on the
Mm-hmm.
phone. And Shosuke is holding a little four-leaf clover, or one of them is. And when I saw that,
Yep,
I was hit with like a wave of emotion. It came over me, and I can't tell you
yep.
exactly why.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
I
Like,
All right. I would say that Sydney's like individual chapters always have that, have that ending that really wrap up everything. So you can
yeah,
feel like all the uh emotional weight on it, and it worked for like almost more than half of all these chapters that I have read.
yeah. I just wonder why specifically. Like, why was that so affecting to me? I don't because the context of the first appearance of little Junsuke and little Shosuke was it was just his imagination.
Yep.
He was sick and he didn't want to eat his applesauce, so instead of eating, he plays, and he delves into his own mind, and he's spinning off of the concept that Haruo had introduced. The question: would you rather be 10 centimeters tall or 100 meters tall? And we see both. We see him envisioning himself as a 100-meter tall giant, holding the rabbit necklace or something, which Megumu later says that he stole. So there's that whole plot going on in the background too. I always love how the conversations of the kids and their games and their squabbles are all like woven into the story of the chapter. I think that's fucking awesome. But so that's the first, when we see little Junsuke and little Shosuke, that's what's first. Like it's just him playing pretend. But then when he's talking on the phone with his mom, we see them on her shoulder. So is he imagining them there, or are they representing some aspect of his character that his mom loves about him? So we see them there, or what exactly is the reason for their appearance there, and why? What's the emotional link, and why did it make me feel emotional? I want to know all of that.
Maybe it's just the bond that they share together.
But see, the that doesn't really make sense to me, because she was not involved in any way in the original Junsuke and Shosuke on the Applesauce Bowl. I just want to know, and I couldn't figure it out. So chapter 27 is one where I'm sure that there are layers and layers that I could peel back when I go and revisit it someday. And that's the good shit, man.
I
feels
know.
good.
And we only got one volume left.
I know. I'm sad.
When do we? So when do we gonna watch and review that the last volume? It's not gonna be the next postcard, right?
Right. So it's not going to be for a long time. So next week we're taking off for Christmas. The week after that is the 2020 year in review. So there's probably not going to be Sunny that time. Then the week after that is first impressions. We're probably not going to have time for Sunny then. And after that, we'll probably take another week off. And then at the very end of January, we'll do like a movie doubleheader or something, double feature, and do Sunny. So it's going to be over a month until we discuss it again.
Right.
I think.
That's a shame.
I know. Feels weird.
We should have spring it, finish it before all this break. But then again, we don't really have time to catch up with the current one.
Yeah, I mean, catching up with current anime is enough of a pain. As you experienced today, you said you watched like literally 9 hours of anime.
Anime and sleep. So I just watching it for back to sleep.
Wake up,
get back again to watch it. Wake up. It
sounds like some riveting shows there.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Man,
actually,
for real, dude. Jujutsu Kaisen had me feeling kind of sleepy as I was watching it in some of those episodes. Maybe that's why I wasn't sure about the difference between episode 9 and 10 with the bullying. Maybe I fell asleep and I woke up and it was episode 10 and I was like, wait a minute, didn't I just see this? But I do think they were like way too similar to each other.
So we run almost like 2 hours for this podcast, but we have like some really good conversations, especially in regard to Kamisama, Hina, and
the glory of Jun Maeda.
So for listener who still listen to our podcast, having a very great Christmas and Happy New Year. We will see you again on the 2 weeks from now.
It'll be 2021
for the anime of 2020s.
Right, that'll be the next episode, and I'm gonna try to predict your stuff as usual.
I'm gonna try to predict yours as well.
Okay, we'll see. Cool. I was like 100% sure on my picks last time. This time it's like less than 50% sure.
Right.
It's been a weird year.
The the last time you only got one wrong because you didn't think that I would pick that. So one of
Yeah,
your
I can't
favorite as well.
remember. What was it? Was it Kaguya-sama that I missed?
Kaguya-sama. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Yep. But
So
I
this
mean,
time, let's see how well we fare.
yeah. 2 weeks from now, we'll be here.
Yep.
Tune in then.
All right. All right. See you soon then.
Bye bye.